We are very honored to have with us Dr. Bhaskar Ghosh, Chief Strategy Officer, Accenture. Dr. Bhaskar Ghosh has the responsibility for all aspects of Accenture's strategy and investments, including ventures and acquisitions and Accenture research. He also oversees the development of all assets and offerings across Accenture's services. In addition, Dr. Ghosh has management responsibility for Industry X, which is into digital manufacturing and intelligent products and platforms and driving responsible business and sustainability services. He is a member of Accenture's Global Management Committee. Before being named to his current position in 2020, Dr. Ghosh was advisor to the CEO on important topics, including growth and investment strategy, business performance, organizational effectiveness, and restructuring. Prior to that, he was the Group Chief Executive of Accenture Technology Services, with overall responsibility for the Accenture Application and Infrastructure Services business, directing strategy and investments, and leading platforms, products, and global technology delivery. Dr. Ghosh serves as an independent director on the board of directors of Housing Development Finance Corporation Limited, which is HDFC, and he's also the chairman of its IT strategy committee and a member of its risk, audit, and governance committee. Before joining Accenture in 2003, Dr. Ghosh was the vice president and global head of IT infrastructure management services at Infosys. Early in his career, he held several senior positions with Philips in India, where he worked extensively with the consumer electronics industry. Dr. Ghosh holds a Bachelor of Science degree and a Master's degree in Business Administration from Calcutta University and a PhD in Business Management from Utkal University in India. And now invite Dr. Bhaskar Ghosh, Chief Strategy Officer, Accenture, to deliver his keynote on leadership in the next normal. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rakhi. Good afternoon to all of you. Honorable Chief Minister, Ms. Mamata Banerjee, Managing Director, CEO of AVP Private Limited, Mr. D.D. Purakasta, distinguished speakers of this forum, and all the participants. It's really my pleasure and privilege to connect with all of you in this virtual forum, and thanks to AVP Group for taking this INFOCOM virtual in this pandemic situation. So my topic for today is leadership in the next normal. Leadership in the next normal. Now, so I think this is a very apt topic at this point of time because we are passing through this pandemic. So if you go to the next slide, please. So if we have to talk about the leadership of in the next normal, first we need to understand what exactly is the next normal. So when normally we talk about this pandemic and we think that crisis is only pandemic and this COVID. So, so we have to live now with the post-COVID world, or we have to live with this COVID crisis for some time. But good news is, looks like the vaccine is round the corner, but it will still take some time. But what I believe is what we need to manage as a leader is not one crisis, but 4 crises and 2 shifts. Of course, the main crisis is the health crisis, which has come from COVID. We all understand that. But there are other crises in terms of the macroeconomic situation. The global GDP has come down. Of course, this is due to the COVID, but this is a huge crisis by itself. And it is not going to come back immediately after the vaccine comes or situation gets normal. So that is the second part of it. Third part of it is the socio-political crisis. We have seen recently the movement on Black Lives Matter. The social factors are becoming more prominent. So business need to make sure they are more sensitive in addressing the social cause. Also, we have seen due to the pandemic, we have seen that major disruption in the global supply chain. So post pandemic, once the situation comes, the COVID situation comes down, I'm sure the people will think, and already people are thinking, whether they should look at the multiple countries for their manufacturing hub. I mean, they are really thinking that depending on one country globally for the manufacturing hub, manufacturing supply, production, maybe risk. So as part of their supply chain planning, building the resilience in the supply chain, so that is coming up as the alternate options. Of course, the environment is another issue, another thing. It's becoming popular, more prominent. The climate change, and these are all, you can say, that independent issues, but it is all coming together. So when I talk about the crisis, I think it is a four crises: health, macroeconomic situation, social political situation, and the environment. So we all need to make sure as a leader, we create the right strategy, right environment to address all those crises and convert them into the opportunity, or rather navigate this crisis. There are two shifts. We should not forget that. One is the technology. During the pandemic, last 9 months, what we have seen that the digital acceleration is in huge speed. And most probably that last 1 year or 9 months, the progress the companies made in terms of their digital journey, maybe that equivalent to 3 years or 5 years journey. So that's a huge acceleration. The second thing, I think, the shift in the business by itself, the way the client buy, the way the service providers deliver services, way people used to the different types of experience has lifted, is elevated, or moved in a very different direction during this crisis. So business has found its own way, own solution in most of the cases in a very innovative way and shifted from the earlier positions. So as a leader, if you go to the next slide, please. So as a leader, we need to think that what is the next game? I like this picture. I like this kid who is absolutely ready for the game, next game. Look at the picture. He's ready with his mask. He's ready to go out to play with his ball in hand. But he's not going out. He's looking at the window. And what exactly he is looking out? Maybe he is looking out. Other friends are playing exactly the same game as before. Is the game changed over time? That is exactly what we need to do as a leader. We need to take a pause and think about those four crises I talked about, think about the business shift I talked about, and see whether it is the same game outside tomorrow. Or our competitors are doing the same thing, or our clients are expecting the same thing. And most probably the answer will be no. So we need to understand that new scenario, we need to understand the next normal and prepare ourselves. So today I'm going to talk about the three leadership behavior, which I believe will be very appropriate and useful to manage the next normal business scenarios. So let's go to the next slide. I start with a small story, in the last 9 months, the COVID days story, you can say. As a Bengali, I love fish, and I grew up in Calcutta. So I remember that when I was a small kid, every Sunday I used to go to fish market with my father. And he was expert. He used to buy fish, check the quality and buy and all. And now last 30 years, I am outside Kolkata. I live in Bangalore and many cities. But the habit of buying fish has not changed. It's still in back of my mind that I have to go and check the fish and to buy. Of course, I'm not an expert. I don't check anything, but I still go and buy. And when this pandemic hit, slowly we started switching into this online buying. So first we switched to buying all the groceries and daily provisions. Then we started buying all the vegetables and everything to buy online. But buying fish online, that was a mental block for me. It was difficult. But then finally, when in mid-March there was a lockdown, I had no option. I had to switch to online store for buying fish. I was very skeptical, but I switched. And then what happened after a few weeks? After a few weeks, I found that I bought some fish and, they mixed up. I ordered for some fish and they put some small fish, big fish, and all taken the higher price and so on and so on. So next day I was very angry with that. Thought that I'll call them and fire them and all. But there is no number to call them. So I started looking for alternate supplier. And there are many online shops available today. But when I was doing that, I got a call from the manager of that startup and said that, so there was a problem in yesterday's delivery. We had a mix up and I'm canceling your order and, refunding your amount, or I will send the fresh supply as per your order today. So I was happy. And for last 9 months, I have not looked for different vendor. So why I'm telling this story, I'm sure that many of you have experienced a similar thing in buying online. Why I'm telling this story, the two things, that when we buy, we have some concept of buying things that pandemic has forced us to switch. In Accenture, we sell professional services. We sell 40, $50 billion professional services every year. Every quarter, maybe 12, $15 billion sales. So when this pandemic came, the first, we were all thinking, can we really sell remotely such a large deals to our clients? What kind of training is required for our people? And of course, then we organized the training and other thing, and then we are confident that yes, we can do that. But then my bigger worry was that we will be able to sell, but can client buy this thing in this model? Because clients are used to buying, in a conference room, 3 hours meeting, we will go, client will come, and then there will be meeting, discussion, negotiation, they will be buy a $100 million deal. That is the way it works. But what we have learned in last 9 months, client has changed. They are also buying remotely. They are also buying in a different way. So if you go to the next slide. So in this world, in this new world, what we believe is that client experience has changed the way they buy services. And what is most important now is the building trust. Trust is always important, but it is more important in today's context as a leader. How we build trust? By building relationship a lot of time. We meet client. Earlier we used to meet client in a lunch, dinner, regular meeting, so on and so forth. Now I'm not meeting the client. We are not meeting the client, but still you have to build the relationship and you have to build the trust. So first lesson for me, and I will share that with all of you, as a leadership behavior in the next normal, we have to learn to develop trust, more trust with the client, to retain the client and grow the relationship and grow the business. Move on to the next slide, please. So second thing is the picture of a lot of technology you can see on the screen. So today, as I said, that in the last 9 months, technology has really accelerated. And today, tons of new technologies are available. In Accenture, every year we publish the technology vision, that what technology will come 4 to 5 years down the line. In 2013, we said that every business is a digital business. And as I said, in last 9 months, the digital journey for all the organization is accelerated at least by 3 to 5 years. And what we see today, tons of technologies are available for using effectively in the business, whether it is a blockchain, or it's a drone, or a AI, data, robotics, and so on and so forth. But art is using that technology effectively to create the right value. So I'll give you one more COVID story, which I have observed in last 9 months from my at my home. You know, the story is like this. You know, my wife comes from Calcutta, from a small town near Calcutta, Chandannagar, and she grew up in a joint family. You know, very joint family, lot of brothers, sister, cousins, and it was very tightly integrated family. And like happened for many other joint families over last 20, 30 years, all of them got dispersed and different parts of the globes. Some of them are staying in New York, San Francisco, Canada, Kolkata, Bangalore, Delhi, and so on and so forth, across the globe. And the family got disintegrated. They hardly meet, maybe once in a 5 years, 7 years. In some marriage, they will meet. Some people, not all. Suddenly, during this pandemic, what happened? That some of them took the initiative to connect using video call like this, and they started connecting every week. And then over this 9 months, it is becoming a habit that every week they look forward for the Saturday when the whole family, they connect across the globe. So that was an example of how technology has effectively integrated a family which was completely disintegrated over last 25 years. Now the digital technology has integrated the family, and the old bond, old relationship came back very quickly, and it is again like old age. But why am I telling this story? Is it the story of one of the collaboration tool like WhatsApp or Zoom or Google Duo or something? Answer is no. Because those tools were always available with them. Everybody had a phone, everybody had a, knew these video conferencing calls and other things. But story is about how they unlock the untapped potential of the technology to create exponential value. So this is just an example that technology has got a potential, and you unlock that untapped potential to create exponential value for your business. In this case, for the family came back after 25 years. But for your business, for our business, we need to understand that whether it is a blockchain, whether it is artificial intelligence, or it is data or AI, robotics, how do we use that effectively to create that exponential value for the business? In Accenture, we have large number of people globally. We have 500,000 plus people globally, and we have a lot of technology people. But we also have a lot of people who are pure, consultant, functional expert, industry expert, and so on and so forth. But we have made a rule that everybody should learn technology. So we call that as a TQ, technology quotient. So we measured the technology quotients of the people. We measured the technology quotient for the company. We don't expect that all the leaders in the future to learn how to code artificial intelligence or machine learning. No, that is not the expectation. Expectation is that all the leaders in the future should understand technology sufficiently so that they can apply to their business. If you go to the next slide, please. So second leadership behavior is the leaders should learn the technology to adopt the technology to create the exponential value for their business. And this we feel is not only that IT, it is not only for this IT people, it is for all the leaders, whether you are in a HR or you are in a sales or you are in a marketing or you are in a finance, whatever is your discipline, whatever is your business line, you need to make sure the leaders need to understand the base technology so that they can adopt technology successfully to create value for their business. So that was my second message. The first, what I said, is the trust. Second is that leader need to adopt technology. So let's move on to this third learning. Let's move to the next slide, please. So this, I'm sure that's very, very familiar picture to all of you. So this is about the talent. You know, we all are familiar, like in Accenture story, that we have large number of people in India. Also, we have many offices in the cities in India. And today, after this pandemic, like many other companies, we completely switched to remote mode and working from home mode. And suddenly the office, which was, big office as a hall with a lot of people, it is becoming all picture in the screen. Now the question is, so what? Why do you need to change the leadership style to manage the new workforce? The reason is very simple. First of all, that once we have moved the complete work from office to this, the dispersed working workforce, that has got many implications. Implications how you manage your team. The perception is that, as a leader, I should go to office and the people will be there in the office. I'm managing my work, whether it is IT work or sales work or any work. Now what is happening that the people may not be physically with you and you have to manage that. So you cannot control the work by the working hours, but you have to control the work by objective, by their productivity, by their deliverable, so by their outcome. So it's more of a, instead of a managing by time, you are managing by outcome. Implications are that when these people are in a different location, how do you continue to build the work culture? How do you motivate people, continue to motivate people, train people so that the workforce are equally effective? But we have seen that when you have moved, thousands of people home, actually productivity has gone up initially, and then there is some fatigue, but the overall productivity has gone up. But the point is, as a leader, one need to learn how to manage this workforce, continue to motivate this workforce, train this workforce there, so that they are in this model. Now the point is that after this COVID, after the vaccine comes, COVID disappears, what is going to happen? Are you all going to go back to this office, or we are going to stay in this mode? So it will all depend on the different industry, different business, but I'm sure that it will be a hybrid model, most probably. Everything may not go back to the office. And if that happens, so one need to learn as a new manager, how do you manage this new situation? If you go to the next slide, please. So not only in the how you manage, in the talent life cycle, how do you recruit, how do you deploy, how do you compensate? So all aspects will come. I'll give one as example of how do you hire, how do you recruit. Like conventionally in Accenture, if I have a role open in Bangalore, so always that we recruit people in Bangalore, and or if we recruit people in other cities, we transfer them to Bangalore. So that is how we work. I'm sure that many companies work that way. But in the future, as a leader, one need to think that I can still recruit from the different parts of the globe, different parts of India, but do we really need to transfer them to Bangalore? May not be. So that will be a new thing. Again, as an employee perspective, if somebody is working in Kolkata, they may not be applying the job outside Kolkata if they do not want to relocate today. But tomorrow, maybe they should be able to apply for a job outside Kolkata, because they may be able to continue from their hometown. They can apply for a job in Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, or Singapore, or Malaysia, or Dubai. Is only 2 or 2.5 hours time zone difference. So it will be very, very different. But the point is, the manager in Singapore or manager in Dubai should think that when they recruit people, they have the larger talent pool and they should look outside their country, outside their cities. That is a mindset change. It will come slowly. It will not come one day, but I'm sure that in the future it will come. It will create that opportunity for all. And I'm sure as a leader in your area, you also think that how you adopt this mindset and open up the talent from a broader dimension. And also today that, IT jobs in India are primarily in the metros like Kolkata, Bangalore, Delhi, Pune, and all, but not in the small towns in India. So maybe in the tomorrow's world, as the IT infrastructure and telecom infrastructure is getting stronger and stronger, it will be more job opening in outside the metro. So that will be a benefit. So there is a lot of opportunity. It may come. There will be a lot of change will happen in the way we think of talent in the future. So this 4 crises, as I said, but crisis will also create some opportunity for the people if we use that properly. But as a leader, we need to make sure we adopt this fact that it will not go back to the old status. So the next normal is we need to manage the new workforce. So if you go to the last slide. So I have talked about the 4 crises. 4 crises are health, macroeconomic situation, socio-political situation, and environment. I talked about 2 shifts, the technology and business. So these are the 6 changes which are impacting the overall business environment. As a leader, we need to build the leadership in the next normal, and we should focus on building the 3 behavioral aspects. That 1, build trust. Number 2, adopt technology. Number 3 is transform talent. But remember, in the future, the most important aspect in the business will be responsible business. Business has to be more responsible for the society and the larger stakeholders in the coming days. With that, thank you.
So there are some questions. May I ask them, sir?
Okay.
So, sir, there's a question from Mr. Shubhamay Chakraborty. He's asking that with the advent of AI, which is increasing every day, and as we keep moving forward, AI is going to empower us more. What is the kind of leadership trait?
So I feel that if we talk about the AI, there are 2 aspects. AI is just one more technology. We need to think that how you can apply that in a business. So as a business runner, as a business leader, you need to understand that what AI can do, how data can change your business, and bring that aspect in your business to create the differentiation, create the differentiated experience for your user, your customer, your stakeholder. So the application of AI is more and more important. Of course, if you are part of a technology, if your job is to develop the core technology, then AI will create a huge opportunity in coming days. It will create a huge employment in the coming days, as AI will be part of most of the technology solution what we are going to develop in next few years.
Okay. Thank you, sir. There's another question, sir. In the near-term challenge, with the adaptation to the next normal of working place, there's a lot of change that people need to do in terms of their mindset. And this takes a lot of time. So how does one manage this gap as a leader?
So I think, as I said, that as a leader, you need to understand that what are the changes, what are the impacts of these different environmental changes on your business, and then you have to implement one at a time. It's a more of a change in the culture. It's a change in the mindset. But what has happened that it has, the COVID has accelerated a lot of change. Like what we are talking today is working from home. Can we, is the technology is new? No, technology is not new. We could have done that earlier also. Of course, there are some legal framework and other things, but a lot of things could have done earlier. But the point is, because of the COVID, that innovation has come, everybody has moved, and this opportunity has come. Now, the question is that, are you going to go back completely in the old? No, it will not happen, because there are a lot of new advantage will be there, that business benefit will drive the change. Only as a leader, we need to adopt. I'll give you one example of a business benefit. Like somebody asked a question on AI. Getting AI skilled people is very difficult. high demand skill in the market. Not too many people available. So when we recruit people, if I get an AI people anywhere in within my time zone or near my time zone, I'll be happy to recruit them. So the question, that is a business opportunity in front of us. But as a leader, we need to accept that change and adopt that. So in short answer is that you need to understand with this change, how that create impact on your business, what is the business benefit, and make sure that we change our leadership, we are change our mindset of our leadership to adopt that change and take the take the value of that change in your business.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. There's another question. This is from Mr. Sanjay Prasad. He's asking, it would be great if Accenture TQWP is shared.
The way we do this TQ, I think is definitely, we can share that. We help our clients to improve their TQ. We improve our TQ. So if anybody interested, we can share that methodology.
So there's another question for you. It's subsequent to the previous question, that in terms of the organizational inertia, now how do we change that in order to adapt to this new culture that's coming in and the way forward? I mean, any tips for us?
I think that is the leadership change. That is why we said that change is, the technologies are changing, the business environment is changing. But what is most important to change the culture of the organization? Once the culture of this organization changes, that the adoption will be easier. That is why I said that as a leader, you need to build this new culture of building trust, adoption of technology, adoption of new talent model. And once you change that culture, you will be able to figure it out that what technology is required, what legal procedure changes is required, what HR practice changes are required. So those things will come. But first is the cultural change is required, and cultural change comes only from top down, from the leadership. And I'm sure that as a leader, all of you will be able to drive that change to be relevant in the next normal.